Oh, hi-ya! Oh, let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome to Animation Domination. I am, of course, 22 Tiger Dude. So let's start off with the Cleveland Show. Alright, so the Cleveland Show is about when Mr. Fist, voiced by Bryan Cranston, he returns as a voice talent. Mr. Fist, he has Cleveland come over to his room like every day to do all these medical things from him. He has Cleveland scared that he's going to die, so Cleveland does things on his bucket list before he dies. Then later on the episode, it turns out that Mr. Fist only had Cleveland come over to his room because he was lonely, he had no friends, and he wanted to hang out with Cleveland and the guys. So now Cleveland and the guys hang out with Dr. Fist, but chaos erupts, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it at there. This Cleveland Show episode, I'm going to be straight up honest, is surprisingly really enjoyable. I actually thought this was really funny. I actually thought it was well written. And, you know, they actually try to go at least creative with the storyline. And when you watch this episode, you could actually tell right here what they were trying to go for in the storyline. And this is the episode where you see the most in-depth with Dr. Fist, voiced by Bryan Cranston, and I love Breaking Bad. And Dr. Fist hanging out with Cleveland and the guys, I really found that enjoyable. And like, he has a little backstory from his past, and I found that to be pretty interesting. I like where they were going from there. And this subplot, Rallo and Cleveland Jr., they open up this food truck business, and I don't have too much to say about that subplot, but I thought that was really funny, really enjoyable as well. There was this one gag where, like, Rallo was acting out a scene or something like that, and I thought that was an unexpected and clever gag. There were a few things I didn't see coming, and that's very rare for me in a Cleveland Show episode. So, this is actually one of those episodes where, to me, it's not all that predictable. Like, certain things, yeah, they're still predictable things, but there's at least a couple of times this episode where I'm all like, ooh, okay, I didn't see that coming. And I thought that was handled nicely. This episode is a lot of fun. I think the only flaw I do have with this episode that kind of throws me off a little was maybe the ending, how the ending was handled. It just ended quickly. It felt unfinished. They could have done a little more with the ending. Other than that, really that flaw though, I really enjoyed this Cleveland Show episode. It was actually surprisingly really funny, really enjoyable, really well written, and episodes I want to see more often from this show. That's basically all I'm saying. I'm going to give The Fist and the Furious a 9.5 out of 10. Before I get to my review of The Simpsons, hey Homer, you can't see him, but he's like way up there. But anyways, they had an intro where they parodied Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is my favorite show. You guys could go check out my TV show for that show if you want to. But I just love Breaking Bad. And when The Simpsons parodied Breaking Bad, I just thought it was completely awesome. I thought that was clever, so I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Now to my review. Okay, so this Simpsons episode is about when Marge gets so fed up with Homer's obnoxious and bad behavior. So Homer turns to this sushi chef to get advice from him to become a better person. There's also a subplot where Milhouse becomes the bad boy to impress Lisa, and unfortunately Lisa likes bad boy Milhouse better than normal awkward Milhouse. Come on, Lisa, you're a sweet girl. Why? Why do you have to be one of those girls right there? Really. It's disappointing. I didn't enjoy this episode that much, to be honest. I mean, it's okay, but in the end, it's forgettable. It's nothing special. And I've already forgotten about half the stuff I've seen from the episode. So I'll try to get my memory processing as well as I can. But there were some funny moments. There's a few memorable funny moments in the episode. And like the sushi chef that Homer went to for advice, I thought that was a funny character. Milhouse being this bad boy, that was kind of an interesting subplot. In all honesty, that subplot's not that great either, but I thought that was more enjoyable, just a bit more enjoyable than the main plot. The main plot was just boring. And I know Homer has a bad behavior, but I really didn't like how Marge is just shunning Homer. And after how hard Homer is trying, she still isn't very impressed. And Marge got on my nerves, and that's not very likely to happen. But I got a little annoyed with Marge here. I just didn't like how she was shunning Homer and just ignoring him for little dumb things like that, even when Homer was trying. And it wasn't until the end of the episode where he actually ended up in the hospital when Marge actually forgives him and actually says the words, "I knew you were trying." Bullshit. She could have said that earlier. If she already said that earlier, poor Homer wouldn't be suffering and wouldn't have ended up in that hospital. And Lisa, she's still enjoyable. Plus, it does get pretty boring. Not only that, but that ending. What the hell was with the ending? Seriously. Am I going cuckoo? Or was that like one of the most weird and dumbest and most awful endings I've seen in The Simpsons? Seriously. Did not appreciate the ending of the episode either. So yeah, not a good episode. It's okay. Has its moments, but for the most part, it's just boring, and it felt choppy in terms of editing, and storyline-wise, it could have been better. So I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 6 out of 10. Damn, it's getting dark quick. And it's still kind of lightish, kind of. Anyways, next is Bob's Burgers. And so, this one parodies Family Feud. Love that game show, by the way. Bob's Burgers has Family Feud. They reference it and parody it and call it Family Fracas. And that's basically all I'm going to give you. I really don't want to go into more details on the plot, really. But it does reference Family Feud, one of my favorite game shows. And Bob's Burgers? Okay. How I'm going to review this episode is going to be so weird. So, just bear with me, alright? I'm just going to go ahead and try to go as best as I can review this because this is going to be kind of weird to review. The premise of Family Feud was enjoyable. I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was handled well. I thought it was funny. I thought it was entertaining. And then, there's annoying moments in this episode too. Like, still characters just screaming. Characters shouting the same thing. What is it with the show having too many characters screaming left and right? Don't the writers and creator of the show know how old and how annoying and irritating screaming characters shouting the same thing with forced humor when it continues to do the same annoying stuff almost every episode? We also have Jimmy, Bob's nemesis, and didn't like Jimmy. The kids were annoying too. Linda got on my nerves too. Bob is basically the only character I enjoyed. Well, we had Ted, but he really wasn't in this episode for much. But Ted was actually enjoyable here too. How the episode was written, it could be good. But then we go farther and farther into the episode. Let's just say Bob goes into court for a certain something. And because he's suing Jimmy for a certain something, and yes, that certain something has to do with family fracas. You guys could probably try to figure that out if you haven't seen the episode, but he sues Jimmy for doing something to family fracas. They go to court, and that scene was actually pretty funny. And then we go into the evidence to show that Bob was, being honest. Certain something goes on, and that certain someone told that other one to get rid of that certain evidence so they don't have to prove anything to Bob in court. And then, you know what happens? Bob lost, Jimmy won. Oh. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, how I was going to score this episode was so hard, alright? So, here's how it goes. I was actually going to go from a 10. Then I went from a 9. Raised a little bit up to 9.5. Went straight down to 8.5. Goes down to 8. Down to 7. Down to 6.5. A little bit back up to 7. And then, boom, in the end, it's a 6 out of 10. That ending killed my score right there, you guys. I mean, I'm being kind of generous. It's an okay score. It's really not that bad. But, writers, screw you. Creator, screw you for creating an episode that started out very enjoyable and quite funny, actually. That's actually creative. And then in the end, it's ruined. Good job, you guys. You really know how to entertain your viewers. That ending really made me want to take out my TV and throw it out the window because that's how enraged I was by this ending, you guys. I'm going 6 out of 10. That's it. Screw you, writers and creator. Screw you guys. Okay, so I am obviously in a different room now. But we're still continuing on, and this one is for Family Guy. And before I get to review, once again with The Simpsons, I have to compliment the intro, because tonight it seemed like awesome intro night. It was just so creative. I think it's very cool how Family Guy did a crossover with American Dad, met Stan. It was this intro where they actually moved into Cleveland's home.
Hello, neighbors. Joe, you can walk! How do you do? I'm Stan Smith. Please, come in.
Oh, I'm so glad everyone could make it.
Stan, I need $50. They're selling a biopsy of Celine Dion's uterus on eBay.
The hell kind of dog is that?
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Of course, things turn around.
Yeah, wake up. You're having a nightmare.
Oh, Lois. Thank God it was just a dream.
Hey, Lois, what's that fat man doing in our bed?
And then Hank wakes up, and it was just a dream.
Damn it. I always wake up before I find out if they can understand the baby.
It moves on to the King of the Hill intro, which Family Guy parodied, and I thought that was very funny. Man, I miss King of the Hill so much. I'm not gonna lie. I love that show, and when I saw the intro, it really brought back good memories. And you know what? It was good to see Hank Hill back again, even though we only saw him back for like maybe about a good 20 seconds. Now I'm gonna move on to the review. I thought it was good. I enjoyed this episode for what it was, and I liked it. It was enjoyable. It was funny. It was weird. Is it the best episode? No, it's not. It does have its problems, like it can get a little boring at times. It reminds me of that episode. What is it called? The one where Peter, Quagmire, Joe, and Cleveland are stuck on this island. I'll probably put the title down somewhere in this video, but yeah, it reminded me of that episode, and I don't know why, I just get the weird sense that they copied the idea from the episode, but except changed it around a little. The funny thing about this episode, though, was how Peter was Bigfoot, except according to the title, he's big fat, because, he's fat and he's hairy, and Peter's this animal after Lois found him in the island. So Peter's not being himself anymore. So everyone's trying to turn him back into a human and, for him to face society and all that horrible stuff. But there were some funny moments. It had its boring moments. It's a decent episode. I liked it. The storyline, it's good. The execution was well done too. Cutaways are not really the best, though. I can't really compliment the cutaways. They were kind of weak here. But there's a few good ones. It's good to see Peter turn back to his normal self, and how he turned back to his normal self was kind of messed up. You kind of saw it coming, but you know what? It was enjoyable. Would I recommend this episode? Yeah, it's a good episode. I liked it. Like I said, it's not the greatest episode ever or anything, but I had a fun time with this episode. So I'm going to give Big Fat 7.5 out of 10. Now, for the finale of Animation Domination, we're ending it with American Dad. Alright, so in this American Dad episode, Francine and Stan, of course, they're getting their game on in bed. Damn, why can't that be me in bed with Francine? God, she's hot. But anyways, Francine feels like they do the same old sex routine, and it's getting old, and Stan has to try to find a new kink to really spice things up in their sex life. That's really you get. To my surprise, this American Dad episode was actually really enjoyable. I really liked this episode. I was shocked on how enjoyable this episode was. I was actually shocked on how hilarious this episode was, because I pretty much laughed all the way through this episode. It actually reminded me of the good old American Dad days, because remember how I said how lately the American Dad episodes have been feeling like Family Guy, where they use the stupidest humor and it doesn't really go by American Dad's own humor. This episode, I felt like it went more on American Dad's own humor. I really liked it because of that. So, good job to the writers. Really enjoyable. Once again, them doing that little quick crossover with Family Guy and that intro for Family Guy, that was really cool. I thought both subplots were really good. I mean, there was this awesome musical number. It was really catchy. It's actually stuck in my head, but it was really cool. You knew that something bad and dirty was coming after the musical number was over, though, so I'm not going to spoil and go into details. And then Principal Lewis, he has one of the funniest appearances I've seen him in. He's not in this episode too much, but when he's in this episode, I was just laughing very hard. I enjoyed his role in this episode. Well written and storyline. The jokes are all very well written. The characters are all very good. It's something creative. It's something different. It goes by its own humor, the show, and that's why I really like this episode. Again, it reminds me of the good old American Dad days. And I would definitely recommend it, especially to this day, if you're still a fan of American Dad. Alright, the only problem I did have with this episode was the ending. I just thought the ending was far-fetched, it was rushed, it was pretty weak if you ask me, and it was a bit of a letdown, especially on the fact that I really enjoyed this episode so much. Nonetheless, I highly recommend this episode. It gave me a lot of good laughs. A bunch of really good laughs. I'm giving this American Dad episode a 9.5 out of 10. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Comment and give me your thoughts on each of the Animation Domination premieres. Like and share this video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and don't forget that I will always have Tiger Power!